Hello, everybody. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Park and Recreation Committee meeting of March 18th, 2021. The time is 6:02, and I invite Becky to call roll.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Cabrales,
Here.
Commissioner Emerson,
Here.
Commissioner Gutierrez,
Here.
Commissioner Lauman. She will be arriving a little later. Chair Machado,
I'm here.
Commissioner Reisinger,
Here.
and Commissioner Sandoval. Okay. Looks like he's absent for now, so go ahead, Chair.
And Becky, can you explain how the public can participate in this evening's agenda?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Viewers are welcome to provide public comment online through Zoom or by telephone at 669-900-9128. The meeting ID is 946-03488-5912#. If you are watching this meeting through Zoom, please select the participants button and select raise hand if you wish to speak. If you are participating by telephone and wish to speak, please press *9. When it is your turn to speak, you will be notified by the host inviting you to participate. You will need to press *6 to unmute yourself. Once you are unmuted, you will have 3 minutes to provide your comments.
All right, thank you very much.
It looks like Commissioner Sandoval is in the audience.
Yeah, I'm letting him in right now. I just saw that. Thank you.
All right. Are there any amendments to this evening's agenda?
The only amendment would be just to move the recognition of appreciation till after item 6. Otherwise, everything else is just fine.
Okay. So I'm calling for the approval of the regular minutes of February 25th, 2021.
Move to approve.
Can I get a second?
Second, Commissioner Sandoval.
Are there any, anybody need to make any corrections or anything in regards to the minutes or say anything about the minutes? Okay, so moved. So Becky, can you call the vote?
Yeah, Commissioner Cabrales,
Yes.
Commissioner Emerson,
She did a
Yes.
thumbs up. Oh,
Yes.
Oh,
Thumbs up.
Sorry.
Commissioner Gutierrez,
yes.
Commissioner Machado,
Yes.
Commissioner Reisinger,
Yes.
and Commissioner Sandoval.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
And we'd like to make an introduction right now. Susan?
Yes, we would. I'd like to introduce Councilmember Eli Hill. He is the most recent addition to the City Council of the City of San Rafael. He is also going to be our liaison. It has been kind of a custom in the past to have liaisons to various boards and commissions throughout the city, but we haven't had a liaison in a while. So we're very fortunate to have him here tonight. I'm going to let him introduce himself. And then hopefully each one of you on our commission can introduce yourself and a little bit about maybe how you became interested in joining the commission or how long you've been on the commission, whatever you feel is most appropriate. So Councilmember Hill.
Thank you, Director Andrade Wax. Thank you, Chair Machado. First, I just want to honor the service of each and every one of you for what you do for our community. Also honor staff and community members who come here to navigate and consider the issues that you navigate. On a personal note, I grew up in my community, very involved in the park and recreation facilities, and I benefited from the programs that were provided to my community. I will just say I played a lot of baseball and softball as a youth, and I feel very strongly about the purpose of our park and recreation program. So thank you for making this possible. And so as not to divert attention from the authority of this commission, I will be going off camera at a certain point, but I will stay on through introductions. And just, again, I just want to say thank you, and I'm honored to be here and serve in the liaison role with this commission. Thank you.
We appreciate you being here, Councilman. Thank you.
So maybe Chair Machado, if you could introduce yourself and a little bit about your, how long you've been on the commission, and maybe any other little fun factoids.
Yeah, sure. I've been on the commission, I believe it's 2011. And I first got on, I coached a lot of soccer. And I spent a lot of time when Alboro was Pickleweed Park. And remember, it was when it was just flat Bermuda, beautiful grass. And seeing a lot of kids play down there, and a lot of the adults play down there. And I've always looked forward to seeing that, seeing the city put turf on that space down there, because I think that the community down there really thirsts for somewhere to go, because they're in their apartments down there and they don't have any backyards, and so that's one of the reasons why I got on, and we've been doing a lot of good things in the past, and I'll leave it there. So we'll go to Commissioner Cabrales.
Hello, nice to meet you. So I just joined the commission in December. I've lived in San Rafael for a long time now, since 97, I guess. So my family, I've raised my kids are teenagers now, but they were really involved in all the activities: soccer, baseball, theater, karate. Like, we were at the community centers a lot in the last few years. And so when I heard that this had opened up, I thought I really felt strongly about supporting all of this, and got so much out of it that I felt like I wanted to give back. So that's why I joined the commission.
Commissioner Gutierrez.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Ariel Gutierrez. I'm a year and a half on the commission at this point. Lifelong San Rafael resident. Actually, I grew up here. And I joined the commission similar to Kayla's story. I have little kids in school here in Sun Valley and using the facilities all around town. And when this opened up, I thought it would be a good fit. I also run a recreational facility in my day job, and figure I have something to give, and hopefully that has been true. But I've really enjoyed the work here, and look forward to many more years, hopefully.
Thanks, Ariel. Commissioner Reisinger.
Good evening. Thank you for your service. I am a San Rafael native. I actually worked for the city of San Rafael many moons ago as a lifeguard in the pool coordinator position. I'm currently a recreation program manager for the city of Walnut Creek, overseeing the Civic Park Downtown Community Center. So Parks and Recreation is in my blood. I was a swim aide at age 13 and haven't gotten out at Marinwood Community Center. So pretty familiar all around with Parks and Recreation, and definitely into it here in San Rafael. So I've been on the commission, I don't know, 3 years, 4 years, a couple years. It's been a little bit, but it's been fun. I'm really liking the direction that it's going. And I apologize, I don't feel so great tonight. So I might turn off my video or step off. I apologize, but thank you. It's really nice to meet you. Really excited to have a liaison to the council, and nice to see everyone else this evening.
Thanks, Kat. Commissioner Sandoval, please introduce yourself.
Good to meet you, Commissioner Sandoval. I've been on the commission now for 3 months, also joined in December. My wife and I actually moved to San Rafael. I think I might be the only one who hasn't been here, or either grew up here or has been here for many, many years. My wife and I moved in June, bought our first house here. And part of the reason is actually because we were living in San Francisco and we kept coming up to San Rafael and other areas in the North Bay, and it's beautiful up here. And so there's that personal interest in the natural beauty of the North Bay and in our city's parks and rec spaces. But then also in my day job, I'm an attorney. And one of my clients was the California state parks. So when I was looking to kind of get involved in the city, I thought this was a good fit for me personally, combining my personal interests and also my professional background.
Thank you, Commissioner Sandoval. Susan? Shall we do this?
Yeah, you know what? I think we can take advantage of the fact that we're all here, it looks like.
I think we might have missed Commissioner Emerson.
Did we? Oh, we did.
Here?
Commissioner.
Oh,
She's being silent.
Okay, I'm sorry, I unmuted. My
I'm-
name's
I'm
Cicely.
sorry, Cicely.
Oh, don't worry. We're all dealing with Zoom fatigue at this point. So my name is Cicely Emerson. I lived in San Rafael for 10 years. I'm a long-term Marin County resident. I've got 2 small children. Well, not that small, actually, medium-sized children. Let's put it that way. And in my day job, I work as a public health program manager for the county. And I really wanted to join to help bridge that gap to make our city a great place to live, work, and play and make it healthy for everybody. So that's why I'm here. That's it. And the trick question is, I'm not really quite sure how long I've been on the commission. I was an alternate for a few years. Now I'm a voting member, which I'm very excited about, but I think it's been maybe 6, something like that. Not quite sure.
It's been a while.
It has.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the trick question, I don't get it right now. I just can't remember.
All right.
Nice to meet you though. Thank you.
Thank you, Cicely. Okay, so Rochelle. The City of San Rafael Park and Recreation Commission presents this recognition of appreciation to Rochelle Gretschman Dibley. Whereas Rochelle Gretschman Dibley has worked for the City of San Rafael since 1987, holding numerous roles, including a child care instructor, program coordinator, recreation supervisor, and senior recreation supervisor. And whereas Rochelle has built lasting partnerships with the City of San Rafael, the San Rafael City Schools, Miller Creek School District, Marin County Office of Education, Pacific Baseball Organization, and Youth Baseball Leagues, all of which have had an incredible impact on the community and paved the way for lasting relationships. And whereas Rochelle's dedication to and passion for training staff and for helping them to become effective leaders has supported the development of so many leaders in recreation and childcare, both within the city and countywide. And whereas Rochelle spearheaded the development and implementation of childcare, youth camps, and youth enrichment classes, and was critical to the growth and success of these programs, which have been a huge benefit to the families of San Rafael. And whereas in 1996, Rochelle's contribution to the city and to the community was demonstrated when she was recognized as the City of San Rafael's Employee of the Year. And whereas Rochelle has made a difference in the lives of over 10,000 children with her ability to mentor, praise, influence, guide, and inspire. And whereas San Rafael has benefited greatly from Rochelle's creativity, dedication, and devotion to making a difference in her community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Park and Recreation Commission of the City of San Rafael does hereby express its sincere gratitude to Rochelle Gretschman Dibley for more than 3 decades of professional service to the City of San Rafael. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Chair Machado, would it be okay if we let Rochelle put her on the spot and let her say a few things?
Absolutely. I think she's reaching for it right now. There you go.
Thank you so much. I don't know what to say. It's been a pleasure and an honor. I've done a lot of work in this city and I love it. And it's going to be hard to leave. And I'm going to cry, which is awesome. Yeah, no, thank you guys so much. The opportunity to start here in 1987 with a degree in English literature and not much experience in child development programs. And then to be able to give back and teach to staff has been just a privilege. Jason, fun fact, I've known Jason since he's 5 years old when he was in one of our programs, and he was in camp with me when he was 12. So to to be able to see that, to see the kids that I had in programs achieve what they wanted to do in their lives, and to support them in doing that has just meant everything, really. So thank you so much. I'm just so humbled. Thank you so much.
That is so awesome. Thank you, Rochelle. All
And
right.
Rochelle, Mark has a great memory. He remembers everything that was written down on that document that Becky has in her office. So, I want to thank Chair Machado for being able to say that by rote. But you will be getting a hard copy signed by our chair himself delivered to you after the meeting.
All right. Thank you, Rochelle, from all of us on the commission. We really appreciate your hard work and your long time work. Okay, so is there anybody here from the public? We don't have anybody. So no public comment. I guess the next thing on our agenda is the California Park and Recreation Society District 1 Community Service Award.
Yes, I'd like to introduce Steve Mason. He's a senior recreation supervisor with the city of San Rafael. He currently is serving over at the Albert J. Boro Community Center in Pickleweed Park.
Good evening, everybody. As many of you know, every year, District 1 of the California Park and Recreation Society, which comprises 9 counties, hosts a banquet to install their board and, most importantly, recognize groups and individuals that have made an outstanding contribution to their respective communities, creating community through people, parks, and programs. Now, traditionally, staff comes before you to recommend a nomination of a group or an individual that has contributed to San Rafael. And this year, we're recommending the commission consider nominating the San Rafael Dia de los Muertos Organizing Committee for their efforts in producing a successful COVID-friendly 32nd annual Dia de los Muertos event in 2020. The Day of the Dead Committee is primarily comprised of local Canal neighborhood serving nonprofits and dedicated individuals. The commission was previously informed that in April of 2020, the committee realized that there was a slight chance that they still might be affected by COVID in November. And they decided to be best to prepare for a COVID-friendly celebration should the pandemic continue. The committee's forethought paid off. The traditional large one-day event that's usually held at the Albert J. Boro Community Center was spread out over a month-long celebration. The committee partnered with local downtown businesses to display altars in their storefront windows, and thus allowing the public to view the altars easily when convenient and safely distanced from others. The businesses also benefited from the extra customers that the altars attracted. Typical in-person activities such as entertainment, art activities, cooking demonstrations, bilingual stories, altar tours, and youth talent shows were held virtually via Facebook Live and through the event's website. Families were able to pick up free supplies for their art activities at the Albert J. Boro Community Center prior to their virtual presentation. In addition, local restaurants that serve traditional foods offered discounts that were advertised on the event website and social media. The traditional in-person walking procession through the Canal neighborhood was substituted with a COVID-friendly car procession. Over 30 vehicles, including a lowrider club and a VW Bug Club, participated. Most of the vehicles were decorated and were occupied with musicians or passengers wearing costumes. And the car procession was led by the San Rafael Police Department, and it ended with a San Rafael fire engine. The car procession also was broadcast on Facebook Live so that people could watch from their homes, and was highlighted by ABC News at 11. From the Dia de los Muertos and the Albert J. Boro Community Center's Facebook page, 51,662 people viewed the event activities between October 1st and November 2nd of 2020, with 4,742 interacting, sharing, or commenting on event posts. 161,356 additional people were contacted through others who shared or commented. The event was viewed by people in 23 countries speaking 14 different languages. Creative planning by the organizing committee provided a positive outlet for a community that was being heavily hit by COVID, and created new partnerships, especially with downtown organizations, and paved the way for future expansion and improved cultural celebration. As a result, staff is recommending that the Park and Recreation Commission approve the nomination of the San Rafael Dia de los Muertos Organizing Committee for the 2020 Community Service Award in recognition of their creatively implementing and expanding COVID-friendly event in 2020. And I'm open for any questions if anybody has any.
All right, commissioners. Do you have any questions for Steve? Nothing? All right. So Steve, how many people attended? Do you have any idea in regards to in comparison to in the past?
Well, like the numbers I read off, we had the over 51,000 people who viewed it on Facebook. So it was mostly virtual. It's hard to judge how many people went and saw the altars because they could do it basically 24/7.
Yeah.
You know, the car procession brought people out in front of their apartments, but it wasn't densely populated or crowded. We didn't want that.
Right.
Because of COVID, so it's Facebook. So the virtual numbers are probably the best indicator, but we know that a lot of people did do it in person as well.
Yeah, a lot of people saw it.
Yeah.
Commissioners, any other questions for Steve?
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to say that sounds really great. I'd heard about it a little bit, but those numbers are astounding. Good job.
We weren't sure
Yeah,
how it was going to go, so
Congratulations.
thanks.
I agree with Ariel. The Dia de los Muertos program at the Alborough Community Center is wonderful every year, and it was really great that it was able to be continued. So great job. Thank you.
Let's hope to bring it back in 2021.
With a hybrid, better version.
Of course.
Oh, that'll be good. So I would ask for a motion for the recommendation of the folks who put on the San Rafael Dia de los Muertos organizing committee that they receive the Community Service Award. Can I get that motion?
I would like to motion for that.
And may I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Okay.
Before you take the vote, can we
Yes.
check with Becky to see if there's any public listening in to provide feedback?
Hi, Susan. We do not have anyone in the audience this evening.
Thank you.
All right. So Becky, can you do a roll call for us?
Sure, yeah. Commissioner Cabrales,
Yes.
Commissioner Emerson,
Yes.
Commissioner Gutierrez,
Yes.
Chair Machado,
Yes.
Commissioner Reisinger,
Yes.
and Commissioner Sandoval.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
All right. So that's it, Steve. We're in.
If I can add one more thing too, traditionally some of the commission members come to the District 1 banquet. This one is virtual. It's still semi-formal, even though it's virtual. But if anybody's interested, it's going to be Friday, April 2nd at 6 p.m. So let us know. Once we get the link, we can share it with you if you're interested in tuning in for it. So
Great.
thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. And since we've got Marin Bocci here, shall we go to the Marin Bocci Federation 2020 Annual Report?
That would be great. I thank you, Chair. It's always wonderful. I know Marin Bocce Federation had their meeting tonight, and so we actually didn't expect them to be able to attend until later in the meeting. And since they were so diligent about showing up on time, it would be wonderful we could move them up on the agenda so they could leave afterwards. So if without further ado, I'd like to introduce Rochelle Grichman Dibley, who you might be familiar with from earlier this evening. She will be introducing the group and doing the annual report tonight.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Again, not going to cry over this. I'll just say I've been working with the Marin Bocce folks for about a year now, and I consider them friends. They have an amazing thing going. Just a few years ago, we had a childcare team that played We didn't have a name, and we made friends with some of the folks that were playing, and they named our team. And the name of the childcare team was Testa Duda, which in Italian means hard-headed. I'm just saying it may be true. But I joined them and just sat on their board for a year as the liaison from our department, and learned so much from them about how they do what they do. It's amazing. And then let's layer on top of that the challenges that we've had this year of being in the middle of a global pandemic, and really wanting as a recreation department to encourage people to be able to do what they could do to get recreation at the time when it felt like we couldn't do anything. And Bocce really did take the lead and push forward in that. And in fact, if Steve hadn't said Dia de los Muertos steering committee, I was going to nominate the Bocce folks for what they've done, because they really pushed hard to be able to stay open as much as they could, followed all the rules, which is something that can't be said for everyone that did recreation over the past year, but really, really were committed to making this year as strong as possible. And their track record is outstanding. What they've given to this neighborhood and the community in San Rafael is just amazing. And so we're really, really, really lucky. It is something that San Rafael can look at and say, look, like, we have the most amazing bocce courts in the North Bay for sure. And then who knows in the Bay Area, I don't even know. But I'm just super grateful and so glad I got to end my career working with such a fun group of people doing something they're super passionate about. There's nothing better than being around people who have a passion. So yay, guys. Woo woo.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I'm not sure how this works because I've never done a Zoom presentation before. Catherine, is their actual PowerPoint going to show up somehow? Do I have to do something?
I can do it. I've got it queued up. I figured you might need support, so I'll share my screen.
So just to introduce,
Becky, you've disabled participant screen sharing. Are you able to set that up?
You should be good to go now, Catherine.
Okay.
Excellent. So Julie is the Marin Bocce Federation queen. They just nominated her to be president forever, so I'm not really sure if that's going to happen. She's doesn't look happy about it, but maybe that's what's going to happen. And Jessica, who's the general manager and the person who keeps it all together at the bocce court. So I'm going to let them do the presentation since Julie wrote it and it's quite well written. All I did was put things together, and I'm sure it could be better, but whatever, we're going to go. So please take it away, friends.
Okay, thank you very much, Rochelle. Well, here we are. Let's see, who moves the screen forward? You, Catherine, is that you that's doing that? Okay. Let's see, and I got to move the faces away a little bit so I can read my own thing. But basically, we're a nonprofit, and we have a shared responsibility with the city of San Rafael and Albert Park to bring Marin Bocce to San Rafael. And it's really a special place. I can't actually read much of what's on here, but it's probably just as well I won't read it out loud. But our mission is to be a wonderful cultural place for San Rafael residents to come and play bocce and to socialize and to be with others. And that's really what we're all about. Some of it's just socializing, and some of it's really heavy duty competition and everything in between, and a little bit of eating and drinking along the way. So next slide. Here's our, if everybody hasn't seen it, who hasn't seen our courts and has everybody seen our courts? Yeah. Okay, well, they never look this empty except during pandemics, but this is what the courts look like. We have 8 outdoor courts and 2 indoor courts, and it's just a wonderful facility. And we also have a lovely rose garden as well. Why don't you switch to the next? There it is. There's our rose garden. We even had a wedding there, and it's open for lots of events for people of Marin. And we have a gazebo there, as well as places to sit and eat. Next slide. If we look back at 2019, and this would be normal before the pandemic, we had 160 teams, we had 1,300 players, we had 3 leagues during the day, 5 leagues at night. We had open play twice during the week and on the weekends. And then we had a lot of events of people that would take over the whole facility or part of the facility during times when we weren't having league play. And we made a bit of money doing that. We also had in-house tournaments, and 3 of them were with the United States Bocce Federation, USBF. And we're considered a really wonderful place for these national tournaments in Northern California. And in 2019, we hosted our 25th anniversary of Marin Bocce. This happened way before I was a part of it in 1994, and it was really Dolly Nave from the Nave family, who everybody knows in San Rafael. I think they have several streets named after them, along with other things. And it was really her inspiration to bring together a place to play bocce. And she really was the inspiration that got it all going. So we used to have a Dolly Nave Day, and we turned that into our 25th anniversary. And we celebrated her and all of the other founding fathers and mothers of Marin Bocce back then. Next slide. There's our 25th gala poster or invitation. And we were able to get about 250 people there. We also had Mayor Borough there, and along with Kathleen, who's our mayor now?
Kate Collin.
Kate, thank you. Kate Collin was also there, and they both spoke to the group, and it was very well received by all of the folks that came, about 250. Next slide. So living in the time of COVID. So just like every other business, we were shut down on March 13th, 2020. And we had to furlough all of our staff. It was really a sad day. And we continue to meet as a board of directors by Zoom. We're getting very good at Zoom, as I can see all of you are as well. And even our backgrounds have gotten a little better over time. While we've been Zooming and closed, we applied for and received a PPP loan from the federal government. And then we started to see things improve. And so on June 15th, we were able to open up very slowly and very restrictingly. We've been able to be open ever since then. I think we closed a couple of days because of smoke and fire from during the summer. But other than that, we've been open. And in November, we realized we've been looking at our books of how much money we were losing over time. Oh, and I should also say, when we opened up, just for open play, no leagues, we were able to bring back our general manager, Jessica, who's been wonderful at this whole reopening. And it's been no small thing, with a strong mitigation plan and with social distancing and masking and all of that kind of thing. And then in November, because we realized we were losing money hand over hand, we decided to put together a benefit fundraising effort called Keep Us Rolling. And we did. And to date, we've made $81,000 from our members and friends of Marin Bocce. So we're really thrilled about that. Next. And this gives you a sense of what the courts look like now with our masking and social distancing. We allow 4 people on a court. Normally you'd allow 8 people on a court, but we have it down to 4 people. And we still have to social distance, and we still have to wear masks. But you know, talking to the people that have come down, and we get about 20 people a day. They seem really happy and really appreciative of a safe place to go where they can socialize, they can exercise and have a good time. So it's really a win-win. We're really happy with our ability to open at least this much. We're now looking to open up for leagues with a restriction of 3 people per team on day shift only, on our day shift starting in April. And we'll see how that goes. But it's the same sort of thing of social distancing and masking, but a bit of league play as well. And then if things really do start to turn around even more, we're looking at the Marin Recovers statistics, and it looks like we're going to go into orange fairly soon. And with that, we may be able to go back to somewhat normal leagues in June, say. And we still would probably have some restriction on how many people could be on a team, and we'd still have to social distance and wear masks, but we are looking to move forward doing that. So next screen. So service to the community. We've been a good service partner for our local community. We've done fundraising events, St. Vincent de Paul. You can read them all there. And we also sponsor a yearly $1,000 square at the Italian Street Painting Festival. And next. Oop, here's our final summary. Oh, Jessica, you were supposed to do a couple of these slides, but I'll turn to you after.
No, you're good. Yeah, there's the financial summary.
Yeah, financial summary. As you can see, after all was said and done, because of our fundraising, we were only 6,000 in the hole for 2020, and looks like we're going to come out of this okay, and we might even be able to resurface our courts sometime this year or next year. So we're really happy with our ability to provide the safe space for our residents, and a lot of them are already vaccinated. I would say of the people that come during the day these days, everybody's vaccinated at least with 1, if not 2 vaccines. And so we're thinking that the future is looking very hopeful and very exciting. And with that, Jessica, I need for you to talk to everybody and tell them what a great place this Marin Bocce is.
Sure. So I would just say, during this whole pandemic, it was a really dark time for a lot of people. And with Bocce, it gave people a place to come to get out of their house, to feel safe. We have a whole washing station, everything's sterilized. And I was really happy to be able to do that for all these people that come down there, and continue to do it, because we have same people coming down almost every day. So it's been phenomenal. And bringing people back too in the right way. I love my job. I don't know what else to say about it. Do you guys have any questions?
Who's got questions for Jessica or Julie?
I mentioned a PPP. We actually got 2 PPP loans, and we also got a grant for nonprofits. And then we heard about something yesterday or today that we also got. I forget what it's called.
It's like an employee refund
grant.
I forgot the name of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were able to get some public monies as well. So between our folks that helped Bocce along with all these grants and other grants, we're doing pretty well.
Yeah, and we got 81,000 just from our players, not from big companies, and just 81,000 from our players. That speaks a lot to what we do at Bocce and what we mean to all these people. I mean, that's incredible just to get that in like 3 months. So, just really proud of everybody at Bocce, and even all the players and the community that we have there.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Any comments or questions?
I got a question for you. How do you reserve your spot down there?
You mean just for like open play?
Yeah. Because if you have so few players, how do you make a reservation?
Yeah, people right now, we're open Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. They call in ahead of time. and they can schedule for 2 hours. They reserve a court for 9, 11, or 1.
Okay.
And that works for me because I have to clean everything in between in the bathrooms and get everything washed. And 2 hours, people get to come down and play. So usually it's 9 o'clock, and now it's becoming very popular at 11. Not so much 1 o'clock, but we're getting there.
Yeah, we should mention that, if you use communal balls, some people have their own balls, like, bowling people have their own balls. Well, bocce people do too, but some don't. So there's community balls. So if you use the community balls, then Jessica dips them in soap water and then in chlorine afterwards. So you're not playing you only play with your own balls.
We actually have a concoction that's two big buckets. One is with soap and water. One's bleach and water, and the bucket that I put the balls in has holes at the bottom. So I dip it in first to give it a wash, and then I do a rinse. And then that's also with everything that's touched. So the Polinos, which is the little ball, and then the score markers, that as well. So everything is done after everybody's play.
So
and I'm going to keep that up.
So everybody's masked out there. Because part of the whole bocce experience is eating and drinking, right? While you're playing. Are you allowed to do that as well, or no?
Right now, no communal. You can have your own, so you can take your mask down to, drink your water bottle, or if you wanted to drink your beer or whatever, you could. We don't really have a lot of that right now, but we're just not really doing communal stuff right now because a lot of bocce is going to different tables and picking off people's stuff, and we are so not doing that right now.
Right. But that's a lot what evening bocce is about. In fact, there's teams that it was more important that they come and share a meal and drink a glass of wine, and the bocce is sort of secondary. There's lots of teams like that. Now, we're not sure what's going to happen when we go back to some form of league play, because we're not going to allow teams to let other teams come and eat off of their plates. We're still trying to figure out how much communal sharing between a team will even allow. But you're right, it's not going to feel quite as good as it did back before the pandemic, but we'll get back to it eventually.
Yeah, people be happy to just be there, see other people, be outside. It's a beautiful scene out there. So we have a lot of interest in that still, even with masks.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, you're welcome.
Anything else, Nada? Okay. Well, thank you so much for making that presentation. It's always great to see you every year, and thankful that you guys came out really well. We got light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
We hope to see you guys in September, right? For your annual event that you guys put on. Hopefully, maybe
you'll let retirees come to it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm going to sign off.
Thank you, guys. All right. Take care.
Thanks, guys.
All right. I guess now we're talking about the parks.
Yes, so I'd like to introduce Catherine Kupa, our Assistant Library and Recreation Director, and she will be doing the presentation tonight.
Thank you. I also want to introduce, well, actually everybody else has already been introduced. So Steve and Rochelle are also here, part of this presentation as well. We're going to be talking about the athletic fields and a new proposed kind of athletic field use policy. Oh, hold on, we've got a presentation ready for you. So I'm gonna share my screen. So this evening we're going to be discussing a proposed athletic field use policy that we, the staff have been working on over the past few months, and we want to get the commission's feedback on. But before moving forward with kind of digging into this policy specifics, we also wanted to give the commission a bit of background information on the city's athletic fields and the facilities that would be encompassed as part of this policy. The city currently has, hold on, it's not letting me advance my screen. Hold on one second. Sorry, something's going on with my presentation. Okay, there we go. So the city has 4 athletic fields: the Albert Park Field, which is right next to the San Rafael Community Center, the Bernard Hoffman Field, which is in Terra Linda, the Pickleweed Field in the Canal neighborhood, and Victor Jones Field, which is out in kind of Glenwood, Peacock Gap area. And I'm going to turn it over to Rochelle and Steve to talk a little bit about each of these fields specifically.
I'm pretty sure you're tired of me by now, so I'll try to be brief. We had these photos taken in the spring of the field so you could get a good idea for where it's situated. Albert Park Field was a huge benefit to us in the year of COVID because we were able to rent space out to some baseball teams that were kicked out of high school locations that were closed because of the virus. So we've had every age from Little League juniors, which is about age 12, through high school travel ball teams. Marin Academy uses our field for their home field, as does San Domenico. And then, of course, the San Rafael Pacifics have been on the field for, I don't even know how many total years, but quite a few. We also used to run ourselves a softball league for adults, a co-ed league in the mornings on Sundays, and a men's D league in the afternoon. A few years ago, we stopped running, but we contracted out with the ranch, which I think used to be the Belvedere Tiburon Recreation Department. And they now run the leagues, but they use our facility to do so. Baseball season opened up just this past Monday. We've had people on the field, except with the rain, every day since then. And the field is booked out completely through September. I think that's about it. Bernard Hoffman has been a field that's been used primarily by San Rafael girls softball. In fact, they do most of the maintenance on the field with the help, of course, of our Public Works Department, our parks guys. It's in Terra Linda, and it's right behind the Marin County Office of Education. It's definitely not a Little League field because there's no grass in the field. And definitely mostly used by girls softball. And I believe they do contract out to some travel ball teams as well, who use the field on off times from girls softball.
Okay, I'm talking about Pickleweed Field. Catherine, I think you're giving us a little bit of feedback. Please. As Catherine said, the Pickleweed Field is located in the Canal neighborhood between the Albert J. Borrell Community Center and the San Rafael Canal. The natural turf field accommodates 2 multi-purpose playing fields simultaneously. And although soccer is the most popular sport on the field, both in rentals and drop-in use, it's also used for ultimate frisbee. It's the home of the San Rafael's Junior Giant baseball program, occasionally clinics hosted by San Rafael Pacifics. And the fields are generally open from mid-June through early December, except during inclement weather. And as Mark said, we've really been wanting for a long time to convert it to synthetic turf. And thanks to an application, grant application that Catherine submitted last week, we are keeping our fingers crossed that we'll get that. So the next slide, please. Victor Jones Field is a T-ball field adjacent to a playground and picnic area in the Glenwood neighborhood. It's used for drop-in community use, including movies in the park, and it's primary T-ball field used by the San Rafael Little League.
All right, thanks so much, Steve and Rochelle. So now to jump right into kind of the policy that we've drafted. Currently, the city does not have a comprehensive policy that governs the use and rental of all of the city's athletic fields. In 2012, this commission helped staff develop a field use policy specifically for Albert Field. And now staff are recommending that we took this as a model and we've expanded upon it and updated it to encompass all of the city's athletic fields. And the goal is really to create kind of one consolidated policy that will be consistent across all of our athletic fields. And so with that kind of little background, I'm going to jump into the details of what's in the proposed policy. So the first thing that the policy does is it lays out the amenities that are available at each facility, as well as the primary, secondary, and other uses kind of permitted on the field. This kind of articulation helps staff and the community understand which activities get priority on the fields and which activities are not permitted on the fields. So this kind of table has the primary and secondary use for each of our 4 fields. And you can tell that the primary uses really relate to the original purpose and design of the field. So for Albert Park, for Bernard Hoffman, for Victor Jones, that's baseball and softball. At Pickleweed, that's soccer, as well as Pickleweed also has a baseball backstop for baseball and soccer. And then the secondary uses are alternative athletic or sports activities that can safely be played on at the facilities without causing damage to the field or without too much concern of injury to the players because they're on inappropriate surfaces. So in addition to the primary and secondary use, the policy also outlines other permitted uses, and these other permitted uses focus on kind of public and private special events such as fairs or movies or concerts. So kind of building upon that list of uses, the policy also outlines the criteria for how the field use is going to be prioritized. This is probably one of the most important pieces of the policy, and one we really spend a lot of time thinking through. So the next 2 slides are going to lay out the field use, the prioritization that we were recommending. As with pretty much all city use policies, the city programs and co-sponsored activities have first priority use of the field. After that, any agency or organization that has a specific agreement for field use with the city has second priority. Currently, the only group that really falls under this category at the moment is San Rafael Girls Softball, who are currently in the process of establishing an agreement for the use of Bernard Hoffman. As Rochelle mentioned, they're a longtime partner there. And actually, when the city acquired that field, it was with the intention of partnering with the San Rafael Girls Softball on use. The Pacifics was another organization that did have an agreement like this with the city. However, at this time, they're pretty much just a straight renter, like any of our other renters. They don't have a separately negotiated agreement. So after that, the third priority goes to San Rafael-based nonprofits. And we're in the order of first is youth serving nonprofits for primary use of the field, adult serving nonprofits for primary use, youth serving nonprofits for secondary use, and adult serving nonprofits for secondary use. After that, we recommend prioritizing non-San Rafael-based nonprofits in the same order as the San Rafael-based nonprofits, kind of that subcategorization. After that, we recommend the resident nonprofits for other permitted uses and non-resident nonprofits for other permitted uses. So that would be the events, special events, concerts, things like that. Next priority would be given to local residents for their individual private use, and then commercial entities that serve the primary or secondary use of the field. And finally would be commercial entities using the field for other permitted uses. So from this prioritization list, you can kind of see a few emerging themes. The prioritization of nonprofit use over private and commercial use, the prioritization of primary and secondary use activities over kind of the other permitted uses, and the prioritization of youth activities over adult activities. Oh, and also the prioritization of resident over non-resident. So there was a lot of different elements that we were working into this and kind of trying to identify priority order. So it was tricky, but we think we've got kind of hopefully established a good balance there. The next thing that the policy outlines, which is different from our current practice, is it establishes a set application period for all field rental requests. So currently staff accept applications on a rolling basis, and we're hopeful that establishing an application window will help staff in allocating field based on this priority use. So we'd accept all applications in one go and then be able to slot people in based on the priority kind of criteria. The application period would be from September 1 through October 31st for the following spring, summer, and fall. And if a group misses the application window, that's no problem. They'll still be able to apply afterwards, and they'll just be slotted in where we have availability. And this application kind of window idea is very similar to the one that we have proposed for our ongoing rentals. So we're hopeful that it'll be kind of a good approach. The next piece of the field use policy that differs slightly from what was included in the Albert Park field policy prior is that we're getting a little bit more specific on the field schedule. So currently the policy says that the field may be reserved 7 days a week until 11 p.m. We've had a few challenges with this because of with Albert Park Field, they have the field lights as well as the PA system. And per the San Rafael Muni Code, amplified sound needs to be off by 10 p.m. And we've had some challenges with neighbors, feeling that the lights and the sound is on too late. So we're clarifying in this policy that the PA system and that the amplified sound and the field lights need to be off by 10 p.m. and the renters have an additional hour to kind of finish with their field prep and their cleanup and to get out of the facility by then. So this kind of aligns the policy with the city's municipal code and noise ordinance. And we feel is also a realistic timeline based off our current renters. For the other city fields that don't have lighting, Albert Park is our only field with lighting. The hours for those fields are from sunrise to sunset, which is consistent with the city's Muni Code as well as our current practice. So that's not a change from the current situation. So the items that I just went over are some of the kind of key changes and major points from the proposed policy. In addition, the policy also outlines just some general requirements and regulations that we expect renters to abide by. Many of these align with the facility rental policy that we shared with you all, I think it was back in August or September. So it should look a lot of it should look fairly familiar, such as the fees and the insurance, the security requirements. And there's a few specific regulations for the fields around preparation and cleanup, as well as concessions and food and alcohol. But I think that is those are kind of the big key points of the new proposed policy. So I think at this point, I'll turn it over if there's any questions or comments.
Thank you very much, Catherine. Commissioners, are there any comments? Questions?
I have a question. Oh, sorry. You mentioned the Santa Fe Girls Softball as having sort of a continuing agreement. Does that mean that all the other regular users would just be kind of lined up and have to apply? Do they usually do that? Apply in a timely manner, and they just have to hope that there's not, some competing group, and then all of a sudden, Little League doesn't have a field?
Excuse me, Catherine, we're echoing.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I'd be happy to talk about that. So how I've been administering the field is that I give priority to San Rafael Little League because we've had a relationship with them long term. The difference is that at Bernard Hoffman, the softball folks also do field prep and take care of their field, and the softball people or our baseball people do not do that. So that'd be
It's
the
still
main
happening.
difference, I think. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry.
Sorry, something's going on with my computer. I apologize. Yeah, so I guess I would also just add on to that the at Bernard Hoffman Field, San Rafael girls softball has always had a unique relationship with the city there from the time that the city acquired that field in 1997. They've really been actually kind of the only user of that field, and they are on it 7 days a week for a lot of hours a day. And as Rochelle said, they actually pretty much do all the maintenance and upkeep of that field. The city's role in maintaining that field is much more limited than it is for the other fields. So that's kind of the balance that we've struck at Bernard Hoffman, whereas the other fields, we don't have kind of that, exclusive use with one user group.
And that doesn't tend to have problems typically. Typically, there's not issues with those sort of repeat customers getting like either unfair priority, like people think, oh, just because they've had it forever, or how does this, is there issues with that typically?
I can speak to that if you want, Catherine. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. I would say that the baseball community is very small in Marin and San Rafael. And I feel like one of the things that's been really helpful is that they do talk to each other. So there is sort of this unspoken, like I align it to like how skateboarding is, I go, you go. They really do work together to sort of come up with a plan that works for everyone. We've hosted Marin Academy here for quite some time now. And originally part of that agreement was that we were using the gymnasium at Marin Academy for the Marin Juniors volleyball team. When that went away, we did have a conversation because at that time, San Rafael High's field was under construction and we were trying to juggle all these different teams. And I felt like the best thing to do was just bring everyone together and say, here's the deal, let's problem solve this together. And when I did that, everything sort of just fell into place. I think with this new policy, we're going to get a lot more time up front to look at a schedule and be able to make intentional decisions about what's best for our field. Because honestly, we're using it as much as we can. I've maxed it out, and I'm afraid over time that what's going to happen is the maintenance is going to be more and more difficult to stay on top of. So we really are walking a really fine line between we need it to make money, we need it to be playable. So those are all things that we've been really working with parks together on, and I think that'll continue, and the new policy will just help that be a lot more clean.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from the commissioners in regards to the athletic fields?
Yeah, just a question on changing the field time to end at 10 instead of 11. Is there a lost revenue associated with that change in hours?
No, there wouldn't be, because they would still be renting it all the way till 11 o'clock. Because they pay for the time that they do to clean up and get off the field. So they actually will be renting it for the same amount of time. They just have to have the lights off and the amplified sound off earlier.
Anything else, commissioners? Hey, Steve, how does the San Rafael Youth Soccer Club still use the fields down at Pickleweed Lot?
They do. We were closed all last year because of COVID and the spike in the canal, so they didn't open. But yes, they are using that.
And they still do all the field, like drawing the lines and doing all those types of things as well?
Correct. Yeah.
The goals? Okay.
Yeah, they're a good partner, good renter.
All right. Well, good enough. Thank you so much, Catherine, Rochelle, Steve.
Sorry, I had a question.
Okay.
Late to it.
Sorry.
So is the city doing the maintenance mainly the people that we had their last commission meeting? Are they the ones that are doing the maintenance on all the fields normally? Except for
that's
the,
Brian's group.
okay. And then my other question was, I know that the schools recently moved to an online system for reservations, and I think that's caused a bit of a problem. And so I was wondering if that was part of the future of this, or are we still kind of doing a human reservation system?
I think we will continue to do a human reservation system. We actually will be moving to we just signed a contract for a new recreation software that we're going to be implementing between now and next December. But I think the plan is to continue that facility rentals will be done through people contact, not automatically online.
One of the issues, most school districts have moved to an online platform and allow people to sign up. One of the issues that we have that's a little different than the school district is the priority that Catherine just outlined, which is if you allow people to go ahead and sign up, there's no way to vet that they are a nonprofit, that they're San Rafael based. I mean, you're possibly not surprised by this, but some people put down their home address or their work address and they don't work there or live there or et cetera. So you can have an organization that has one member who lives in San Rafael who will fill out the paperwork in order to get in. So it's really a great opportunity when you have these windows to collect all the applications, to be able to review them, to make sure they are the nonprofits and they are the organizations and they have all the supporting documentation, and then you award the field time accordingly. If they can go in there and secure it themselves, it's really difficult and not great customer service to tell people they can't have something once they've secured it online. So it sounds like the school district's figuring that out.
Yeah, thank you. I love the prioritization, but I was worried that what you were just mentioning might happen. And so, yeah, thank you.
I would also say I see Rochelle, and I'm sure Steve does, they do a lot of wheeling and dealing behind the scenes of, can you move an hour sooner, or, just to try and get people in as much as they can, which, if you do an automatic online system, someone could come in right in the middle of the day and then you're not able to get people on the end. So I think there's a lot of reasons why we probably won't go to an online system anytime soon.
And I think too, it doesn't build great relationships with people when you do it the other way. Like the idea, right, is we're a community service program, right? So if we aren't serving the community because we're allowing random things like that to happen, then our own people don't get to use the field that they're used to using. And while I understand that, there are some organizations that do monopolize quite a bit of time on the field, it's because all of the kids that play for San Rafael Little League live in San Rafael. So it's their field, in my opinion. And so to have a human be able to go, okay, wait, let me get my arms around this and build those relationships. Like they all call each other now. I barely hear from anyone because they all kind of wheel and deal. And then I'm kind of behind the scenes going, all right, how can we do that? And it's worked out really well. I don't see a reason to change it.
The other issue is, and I think it's, again, part of the policy, is it talks about outlining all the requirements, the insurance, et cetera. If somebody can go in, get, obviously a password, be able to go in there and log in there and provide their information, we still have embedded and made sure that they understand what type of insurance that they need, what kind of cleats can they use if it's specific surface, can they do certain things, can they bring in their own lights. We really don't have the opportunity to go through all that with them. You'd be surprised. People don't necessarily read what's online, but if you are taking the applications in person and you're making sure you get that, you can say, okay, you need to have all the following things in order for us to issue the fields and issue a field permit.
All right. Thank you very much for your time.
So I think what we're looking for is if there's any more comments, and maybe we can ask Becky to see if there's anyone public on right now. Becky, is there anyone
Hi,
on?
Susan. No, we do not have anyone in the public at this time.
Great. So if there's no more comments, then we would love for the chair to solicit a motion.
A motion for Susan?
To approve
Oh,
the, or provide, I don't have the report in front of me, so I can't remember what the recommendation was. I'm sorry. I apologize. I can pull it up.
Says review and provide feedback. So you're looking for a motion to approve the proposed new guidelines?
The proposed athletic use, field use policy.
Is it to approve or just accept the report, Susan?
Either one is fine. It's not going forward to the city council, so you can either accept it or approve it.
Can I get a motion from one of the commissioners to accept the proposed athletic field use policy?
I will move to accept the proposed athletic field use policy.
And may I have a second, please?
Commissioner
second.
Sandoval.
Go ahead. There you go. Thank you very much.
Double second.
All right. Becky, will you do the honors, please?
Yeah, Commissioner Cabrales,
Yes.
Commissioner Emerson,
Yes.
Commissioner Gutierrez,
Yes.
Chair Machado,
Yes.
Commissioner Reisinger had to leave the meeting, so we'll move to Commissioner Sandoval.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
All right. So that's accepted. Thank you so much, everybody. And now we are on to commission reports and comments. So commissioners who are doing extra special duties, would you like to give a report in regards to what's going on?
Maybe we can have our two of our commissioners report on the library and community center conceptual design working group.
Excuse me. Yeah, we met. Did we have that phone meeting since our last? I think so. I think we had a meeting on March 4th.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. And yeah, we had a meeting on March 4th with the design team, and they proposed 3 different schemes to consider for the library and rec site. And then they proposed a walkthrough for as many people as possible to attend, because I think they felt like looking at the schemes on paper was not the same as looking at them in person. And I think the thought was that some of the library people probably hadn't been down that way in a while. I know Kayla and I do, and certainly the design professionals have been there a lot. So I kind of think it was with that in mind. I could be wrong. So we went down there and walked around for an hour and took a look at kind of how the scheme's laid out in person. I had one question that the landscape architect asked, and 2, I think, out of the 3 schemes move the new playground. And he was asking if you guys had feedback. I wasn't here when that was built. I'm sure it's a labor of love, but if there was sort of more insight as to how they would feel of it being moved, if we had any feedback for them.
I think that question also came out on the March 4th meeting.
I think it did, yeah.
There are 3 preliminary schematic designs that have kind of floated to the top. And what Commissioner Gutierrez is speaking about is in almost all of them, 2 of them, they definitely relocate the playground a little further in towards the turf field area, or the turf area, I should say. The other one, they kind of elongate it. They move elements or expand upon the footprint. But one of the comments that came up from Vice Mayor Bushy, who's also on the working group, I had brought up, please don't move this. The B team just put it in literally like a year and a half ago. It'll break their hearts. Please don't move it. Vice Mayor Bushy great advice was, by the time we decide on one of the locations, if it is Albert Park, this is probably at least 10 years out for funding and getting it built. By that time, the playground will probably need refreshing anyway. So very likely it wouldn't be disruptive, and the group would probably embrace it.
That was my initial comment to him, so I'll follow up.
So, but I think Commissioner Contreras brings up a really good point, and it would be great to hear your feedback on what you guys think. But my original feeling was it's too soon to move it. But then in the light of it could be 10 years out before this project even, before it's shovel ready, it might be a moot point.
Are you looking for comment on that right now, commissioners?
Just if you guys have anything to add, I think in Sicily would be the people on the commission who worked with them, right?
Yeah, my feeling is that, if it's going to be that long, it's 10 years. This is going to be, these parents are going to be onto something else, right? And their kids are going to be grown, so.
Yeah, and I think they just want to revitalize the area, so they'll welcome the fact that the library is going to be there. As long as the playground's relocated and it's still there for little kids, I think it's actually more optimum to have it away from the street and closer to the field, so that, the parents can picnic while the kids are playing. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah.
Great. The only other thing I would add is, and Kayla, I'm sure has something to add, that they were all really great schemes. I thought it was really interesting. I think they're leaning towards one that kind of pushes the building back towards Safeway and B Street and kind of opens up the interior a little bit more, albeit with parking included. And there's some ideas for sort of making the parking less concrete or less gray, I guess, to try to make the whole area in between the field there and the building feel really park-like. I thought they were really great, and I don't know, so far so good. I certainly have a favorite. It's that one.
Right. Great. Anything else? Kayla, do you want to say anything in regards to the
Oh, I would just say that it's really fun to be a part of this and kind of dream about how to make that area better. And what I really like the idea of, and I think I wasn't part of building the playground, but I think whoever comes later will appreciate the moving of it, honestly, and being able to sort of make that entire area more cohesive. I feel like any one of those plans sort of does that, and it kind of makes that field feel like it's part of a whole complex rather than sort of a patchwork of places now. So I like how they're designing in that way. And definitely as somebody who spent a lot of time sitting at playgrounds, I could say that it would be really nice to have the view of the palm trees and the Mission and be in the, in that park. So yeah, I think they're doing a great job. I think it'll be really exciting to see what happens with these plans.
That's great.
One more thing, I also just wanted to say thank you to staff, Rochelle, for the tour, because I think you pulled out certain things that you feel very passionately about, and I can respect that as a staffer of a facility that's like, no, this isn't just a design game. You want them outdoor to a patio when you have a childcare area or a classroom or whatever, and you want this and the noise with the events room. And so I think it was heard by the designers, but I appreciate making sure that you got that out there, because it's important to hear from staff.
Rochelle, what are we going to do without you? What are we going to do without you?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to be in Texas like right after I retire, so we'll see.
Okay.
I'll still live in San Rafael though, so I'll still be harassing some people.
That's funny. Okay. Anything else? Susan, have I missed anything? Do we need to touch on anything else just in regards to the calendar?
That's it, and any staff comments. So the only thing I was going to add was on the library and community center conceptual design. I really appreciate the feedback that Commissioner Gutierrez and Cabrales have given the group. The group originally was all library based. And as you can imagine, because this is a joint library and community center, it's really important that we have 2 seats at the table, albeit they have 6. We have 2 very assertive and professional people that are representing us. So they definitely get equal time and people are listening. And it was a little bit of by design that Rochelle was the one giving the tour. I couldn't be there with my little air cast going on. So we had a discussion early on. I said, don't be shy. Please show when people are touring the facility, please share your insight, because, just looking at a building without understanding how the different activities interact with each other and relate to the site, people can leave with a different impression. And so it is important. And I know Commissioner Gutierrez, this isn't lost on you since this is what you do for a living. Seeing a building and operating one are completely 2 different things. So Rochelle was really incredible to do that for us. So our next meeting is actually with staff. It comes back to the staff, and all of our managers and the library supervisors will be involved in providing feedback and insight. And then it comes back to the working group. I want to say the end of April, I think, is our next working group meeting. And then there's only 1 more meeting after that, and then hopefully forward to the city council. So this is a quick one. And what we anticipate, so I'm letting a little bit of the cat out of the bag. Once this is done, it will be presented to the city council. We assume there might be a request for a couple of things, a feasibility study. Now that we have 2 viable options, what do they really cost? What is a reuse plan if we decide to not go with the Carnegie? What does that look like? Probably very similar to what we just did with the Boyd House. And then the possibility of conversations on what are the funding mechanisms that could be explored. The foundation has already shown some interest that they're ready to step up and help partnering with the city by paying for a consultant to lead a capital campaign. So there's already conversations about that going on. So this is a really exciting time. Both of our commissioners have really said that well. It is very exciting. It's the most traction this project has gotten in over 20 years, and it's really starting to move. So hopefully we will have some idea of which direction we're going on by summertime, which way. So it's exciting. So that's really what I want to share with you. We're still all meeting virtually. You probably, and I'm going to let Catherine talk about reopening. I will let you know that the library is going to be pushing out some information shortly about how they're reopening. I will tell you that they're going to start reopening all 3 sites in different ways. In-person computing, maybe at one facility, in-person browsing at another. Is all going to start in April, and then May is going to be a different phase, and June is going to be another. So they already have the phases identified with how they're going to start peeling the layers back and reopening the libraries. So that's exciting, and I know Catherine's already working on that. So I'm going to let her tell you a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes.
Sure. Yeah, I think that our last meeting, we kind of talked about this quite a bit, how we were starting to get more programming in the building. That the Terra Linda pool has opened up for lap swimming starting in March. We've got an art exhibit going at Falkirk. So all of that stuff is continuing as we're looking at getting into the orange tier, hopefully next week. Fingers crossed. I see Cicely giving thumbs up. We'll just be able to kind of open up at higher capacity levels. We are still restricted in many things by the state. We are starting to look at our summer camps. We've got a bunch of summer camps online and are going to be promoting those more heavily. And I think one of the things that we've heard is coming from the state that we're really interested to see what it has is further guidelines on indoor events. So that would kind of be our weddings and our quinceañeras and the big rentals that we typically are a big revenue generator for us and a very popular service that we provide to the community. So at this time, there's really nothing saying that those are going to be open at any point. And so we're hoping with these indoor event guidelines that are soon to be coming out, that we'll start to see what reopening those events might look like. But other than that, the other thing we're waiting on is hopefully a little bit of loosening at the state level on capacity, class capacity for our youth program. That's kind of another real limiting factor that we can't, even if we're able to open up to 50% capacity, our youth classes, we can't have more than 14 participants. So no matter how big our facility is, we can only have 14 participants. So that's another area where we're kind of at the max of what we can go under current guidelines. And until some of those start loosening, we're just kind of staying the course. But we're bringing back more classes, opening up the facilities, looking forward to the fields opened up, or the Albert Park field opened up this week. We're excited that it looks like this year we're going to be able to open Pickleweed Field once kind of on its normal schedule, once it's ready to be open due to its winter maintenance closure. So yeah, we're just kind of keeping an eye on the slowly changing guidelines and implementing what we can. One other thing I did want to share after Chair Machado's question about filling Rochelle's, filling her shoes. Well, nobody can do that. Jason is sitting with her right there. Jason Fong is going to be stepping in as the interim recreation supervisor at the San Rafael Community Center as we do the recruitment. So Jason has lots of experience. He stepped into that role before when a previous supervisor went on maternity leave, and he was in that role for almost a year. So he's definitely, knows what he's doing, has got some good experience, and also knows who to call if he's got any questions. Got Rochelle on speed dial. So we're excited to have him. We feel very lucky that we've got someone to step in, and it'll be a smooth transition. And so if you've got any questions about San Rafael Community Center, Albert Field, he's the one to go to. And Steve's also is kind of stepping in to learn that as well, and to supervise Jason in that process. So between the two of them, I know we're in good hands.
All right. Thanks, Jason. Okay, are we good to go, Susan? Okay, so I am adjourning this meeting. Thank you all so much for being here today, and thanks staff for all the great information. Rochelle, man, that was awesome, right? So you're going to be really missed.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, so much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. And Councilmember Eli, thank you. Councilmember, thank you for being here. All right. See you guys.
Good night, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Night all.